It is like a 7 furlong race at Caymanas Park in Jamaica. The horses turn at the 2 furlong point for that stretch run, and spread across the track, there are 12 horses battering for the finishing line. With 2 rounds to go in the regional tournament, as the players look down the home stretch, there are many players jostling for position on that plane to England. Jason Older created havoc in this round. Tage Narayan Chandapal silenced his critics.
You think so?
Sinclair and Greaves have launched an all-out war for that number 6 batting position, while Teddy Bishop scores first century as a senior player. On the other hand, Athanaze continues to be a one-season wonder. Kirk Mackenzie has been very, very disappointing. We'll also look at Warwickon, Jeremiah Lewis, and Anderson Phillip. And as far as the World Cup is concerned, Shimran Etmire failed again, and the West Indies captain Ravman Powell is breathing down his neck at the Rajasthan Royal. There's a lot to get into today in this half an hour. Plus, I will have to take your comments. So let's get the show underway. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the show. With me this morning are the two other Bs, Basil Butcher, and with him is Bobby Brown. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to all your viewers.
Yes, so as we hit the 2 furlong point on the race course, as we steer towards the finishing line, the 5th round of the tournament completed mostly on Friday. I saw one person said that the Jamaican players wanted to go to champs, so they are going to ensure that the match against the Leeward Islands finish quickly. But our first look this morning is the match between Trinidad and Tobago Red Force and the Barbados Pride. Trinidad made 172, Barbados replied with 279 all out. On Friday morning, Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, they were 100 for 3, but a devastating spell of bowling from Jamel Warwickon and Jason Older sent them packing, where they lost their last 7 wickets for 24 runs. Trinidad losing to the Barbados Pride by 8 wickets. Gentlemen, I want us to look at the performance of Jason Older and Jamel Warwickon in particular. Basil, do you think this performance from Jason Older will go a far way towards helping him to book his ticket for England?
Not really. Jason Holder has played a lot of Test cricket. He is a wily veteran. A performance like this is not something out of the ordinary, so to speak. And credit to Holder, I give him full credit for his performance. But when you look up and down the batting lineup of Trinidad, there ain't nobody out there that stick out their head. He did what he's supposed to do, but I don't necessarily think that is going to book his ticket, so to speak, because the guy who replaced him in Australia has not let loose of the rope, Mr. Graves.
Yeah. Thank you, Bobby. And last week, I think I said that Jason Older needs to get somewhere between 17 to 18 wickets in these last 3 matches to be on that plane. Do you think that he has made a step in the right direction here?
Yeah, definitely he has made a step in the right direction, and the direction we want to see him make that step. He has gotten 8 wickets in that match. So he has made the step. I guess he heard the noise we were making. Very good, and we want just others to know that there's no free ride around here, because like Basil said, the guy that replaced Jason Holder is not giving up, and he's scoring runs. even though he's not really bowling a lot, but he is on JC Holder's tail.
Okay. Basil, we look at it and there was Nikita Miller first. Then there was Veerasammy Pamal. Now we have Jomel Warrican. These left-arm orthodox spinners. Here after here, they got the most wickets in the regional four-day tournament. We saw again now Jomel Warrican. But it is very, very unlikely that he's going to make that West Indies squad for the foreseeable future. Maybe never again. What is it about these left-arm spinners why they cannot get into the West Indies squad?
I think one of the problems have been in terms of West Indies and the spinners, the wickets that they've thrived on are easy wickets to thrive on, right? Slow wickets. And then when they get in at the next level to bowl on good wickets where you have to be consistent over and over, they get found wanting. And that has been the big discrepancy with our spinners in the last 10, 15 years because of that. And the other thing too, you would look at our batters. Our batters are not patient and so on when they're playing against spin. Whereas the batters they're going to see at the next level are more patient and more skilled. As we look around at our batters, skill set against spin bowling is very wanting across the board. I often say when I look at women batters, of the top women batters across the world, they play spin better than our batters, men batters at the highest level.
Thank you very much, Basil. The next match is the match between the Guyana Harpy Eagle and the Windward Islands Volcano. I believe that the Windward Island Volcanoes were wishing they were still in Jamaica. While they played those 3 first rounds in Jamaica, they're an invincible team. I think I know what happened in Jamaica, but I will not say it because if I do, I will get myself in serious trouble. But I think the Windward Islands will want to come back to Jamaica very soon. In that match against the Guyana Harpy Eagle, the Guyana Harpy Eagle made 308 all out with Kevin Sinclair top scoring. Windward Island Volcanoes were very disappointed, being bowled out for 113. Then, Tej Narang Chanderpaul hit his first century of the tournament. His first century in more than a year, as he made 112, I think. Guyana Harpy Eagle in their second innings made 224 for 2 declared, and then bowling out the Windward Island Volcanoes for 165, winning that match by 254 runs. Let's start with you on this time, Bobby. Bobby, has Tej Narang Chanderpaul book his ticket to England?
Well, not quite. I don't think so. But I think he'll go. But in terms, if you're talking about scoring, I don't think he has to make at least one more century. Then he can book his ticket. But I think, in the end, they'll probably give him another try. Maybe give him those couple matches in India. But as far as his spot goes, it is still up for grabs. But he looks a much better player now because he's actually not giving up half volleys. He's actually taking them. So he looks a better player. I don't know what happened. I don't know if somebody talked to him, but he looks a different player than before. And we hope he continue to bat like this.
We do hope so, for sure. Basil, what's your take on Chanderpaul?
Chanderpaul, he got a score, right? He got a score. I don't think he's out of the woods. And what is helping Chanderpaul is none of the other contenders for the opening spot are really putting up their hands in a serious manner. The youngster I was looking to see if he would have really pushed Chanderpaul was McCaskey. But McCaskey seems not to like to cross the 3-figure line. When he gets close to the 3 figures, he finds a way to get out, right? Chanderpaul, one of the things I noticed in that second inning, when he made the 100, he was not crouching as that exaggerated crouch that he does prior to the ball, just before the ball leaves the bowler's hand. And I was told, well, not me being told, I heard one of the commentators said that the management in the Guyana setup told him to go out and bat without fear. So he went out there with a clear mind and he played more positive. So let's see if that trend continues in the last 2 rounds.
Yes, before I come to Athanaze, gentlemen, and clearly, I was looking at Imlach. And Imlach, when you look at that reserve wicket-keeping position, this century would have probably put Imlach ahead of the other guys. But if he's not keeping for Guyana, why should West Indies pick him as a reserve wicket-keeper, Basil?
I agree with you. I understand the reason he's not wicket keeping because he suffered a finger injury coming in Australia. So he's not wicket keeping. So in my view, that would take him out of the competition for backup keeper. There are a couple of guys around that I think they could look at. You have your guy from your team, Jamaica, Morris. He's had a few scores. You got the wily veteran in Hamilton, making some scores. Also, the youngster from Barbados, from the Windward Islands, Walcott. In my view, all 3 of those guys are better glovemen than Imlach.
Thank you very much. Bobby, at the end of 2022, Alec Athanaze was averaging 28 in first-class cricket without any first-class century. Last year, he scored his first 2 first-class century and made over 640 runs in the regional first-class season. He went on to play for the West Indies, and after 4 matches, he has not yet scored an half-century. 1 year after, 2024, Alec Athanaze have not been performing well and have gone back to his pre-2023 days. Is Alec Athanaze, despite all his talent, is he a one-season wonder, Bobby?
I wouldn't say he's a one-season wonder. He definitely needs to refocus because when I watch him batting, he loses concentration at times and just makes some rash shots. Even in international games, I think he just needs to calm down, figure out what he was doing to get himself into the West Indies squad and continue to do that. I think he's overplaying himself at times and he just needs to relax.
Basil, we look at Alec Athanaze, and he have not done well this season. Earlier, I think last week, I have said that I have a lot of time for Alec Athanaze, or the week before, probably longer than that. I will not necessarily drop him from the West Indies team because there's obvious talent there. But I thought that Athanaze, like Mackenzie, would have been dominating the regional 4-day cricket tournament this year. What is it that is wrong with those 2 players, Basil?
In terms of Athanaze, I think what has happened to Athanaze, he's been found out, right? He has some technical issues on the off stump, particularly when the ball comes back into him. And I would very much say the Guyana bowling unit obviously did their homework on him, because just the ways we saw him getting out in Australia is similarly he got out against Guyana. A ball coming back into him and he's pointing his bat to hit the ball through extra cover, which opens up the gate. So it's either one or 2 things gonna happen. You get bowled down or LBW, right? And that's what happened to him. So he has to make an adjustment with that technical issue, right? In terms of Mackenzie, I don't understand what's going on with Mackenzie. I would have thought a guy who was put under serious pressure against the best bowling unit in the world, right? And in my view, did a very credible job. And one of the good things I liked about Mackenzie, particularly in Australia, you know, despite the pressure that was put on him, every time they bowled a bad ball, he jumped all over them. But we're not seeing that since he came back to the Caribbean. It's almost like Mackenzie felt he has arrived. And maybe somebody needs to remind him he has not arrived anywhere.
Thank you very much, Basil. So the third match that was played over the weekend was the Jamaican Scorpion versus the Leeward Islands Hurricane. As I said earlier at the start of the broadcast, the Jamaican players were clearly intent on going to champs and were not willing to stick around. So Jamaican Scorpion batted first and made 221. Leeward Islands Hurricane replied and making 231. Their second innings, Jamaica fell away for 196. The Leeward Islands are at 189 for 3, winning by 7 wickets. In this match, Greaves scored his third consecutive half-century. And really, that is the type of performances you want to see from the West Indies players. The player that I really want to talk about most in this match is Jeremiah Lewis, or some say Jeremiah Louis. Basil, let me come to you first, Bobby, this time. Is Jeremiah Louis on his way to England, Bobby?
I think so. Definitely, I think so. You know, he's he's the leading wicket taker right now, or at least the second wicket taker. So he definitely has to go to England. I don't see any way how he does not go. And the thing that I like with Jeremiah Louis, he takes top order wickets. He does not just really clean up the tail. He make that ball talk, and he takes top order wickets. So I could see Jeremiah Louis going there. I don't think he could get into the 11, but I could see him going there definitely.
Basil, what is Jeremiah Lewis doing very well?
I think Jeremiah Louis is very consistent. He moves the ball both ways. Being a left-hander, that's a variety too. We don't have a bunch of them.
He's a right-hander. He's a right-hander.
Louis is a right-hander.
Archibald is the left-hander.
Oh, okay. I get him mixed up. Colin Archibald. Yes. He moves the ball both ways and so on. Now, the question, Bobby, you asked Bobby about him going to England. Now, let's look at the squad that went to Australia, right? To me, the guy that's going to be the odd man out from that squad that went to Australia is Jordan. Now, who is going to replace Jordan? Is it going to be Seals or is it going to be Holder, right? And the other question we have to find out is when they're going to England, what would be the number of the squad? I have said this: if it is 16, Holder gets in as that next person. But if it's 15, Seals going to be the guy coming in. Once Seals shows that he is fit, and so on, Seals got to come back into the side. Seals was our number one or 1A, 1B option before he got injured, right? He hasn't forgotten how to bowl. So once he's there, he has to be in the team. You know, Louis, in my view, Louis has more than booked himself to be on the next A team.
All right. When Seals first represented the West Indies at Savannah Park against Pakistan, I look at him bowling and I said he was the next best West Indies bowler. He was the next great West Indies bowler. Since then, he had 2 injuries, and probably, in my opinion, he's not really back to his very best. And I really think Anderson Phillips and Jeremiah Louis is pushing him for that spot to England. Bobby, what are your thoughts on those 3 fast bowlers?
Yeah, we have 3 excellent fast bowlers right now, and we have a couple more. But on those 3, Seals is the man. He's the man for the future. But like you said, those 2 injuries kind of set him back a bit. But, you know, he'll come back. He's still very young so far. And Louis, like I said, I think Louis is going to go there for Jordan. And like Basil said, if there's 16, maybe Jason Holder gets in. And then Phillips, Phillips is the guy that surprised me because last year I write off Phillips. I was like, there's no way Phillips could be in the conversation, but Phillips has surprised me. He's working hard. You could tell because he's really running in hard. He's bowling lots of overs. I would like to see his pace that he's bowling because he looks like he's throwing down some real heavy pace. So Phillips has surprised me. Phillips is the guy that just has popped up and put himself in the ranks.
Yes. The next match, which was between the students and the West Indies Academy, it was the only match that went deep into the fourth day. 3 of the 4 innings were over 300. West Indies Academy batter made 300. Combined colleges and campuses replied with 231. In the second innings, West Indies Academy made 316 for 7 declared. The combined colleges and campuses were bowled out for 324, losing by 61 runs. But importantly, in this match, Teddy Bishop scored his first century as a senior player, his first century in first-class cricket. Basil, what are your thoughts overall on Teddy Bishop, and what did he do well in this innings?
I must admit, I didn't see any of that game. I heard that he made 100, which is good for the young man. He looked because it was good for his confidence because when that little cameo in Australia, he looked out of his depth. So good for him, right? But I want to comment because I was made aware because I haven't paid close attention to combined campuses. But I was made aware of a youngster named Blades, left arm opening fast bowler, who has been doing a very decent job under the radar because we're not paying attention to combined campuses team, and he has pace. So that's a guy we need to and he has 16 wickets to date. So I will be paying a little close attention to Mr. Blades in the next 2 rounds because he was brought to my attention by the former selector, Roland Butcher. So, and I went and he sent me some clips of him, and I was like, I ain't really been paying much attention. This guy is not a bad bowler, and left-handed, that is like good as gold if you could get a few good ones like that.
Bobby, did you see much of Bishop innings? I know you always think that he's over-attacking sometime, but what you thought about this innings, Bobby?
Yeah, well, I didn't really see much of his innings at all. I was occupied with the other games. But one thing I see with Teddy Bishop, when he plays 4-day or Test cricket, he normally plays better. He doesn't really play any wild shot like when he's playing 50 over cricket. I think when he sees that white ball, he thinks everything was going in the air. But when he's playing Test cricket, he plays in the V, keeps the ball on the ground. So what I would suggest is he continue just to play a lot of red ball cricket, and it would make him a better white ball player.
Mm-hmm.
That's a very good point. I see you nodding your head, Basil. I definitely agree with that one.
Yes, because red ball cricket is where you get to develop all your skills because you're out there longer. And then you make the mental transition to whether it's 20 or 50 over. I don't understand why these young guys these youngsters today, they're just looking at the big money and not understanding the better you are, the big money will come. And playing a lot of red ball cricket, you'll get to develop those basic fundamental skills that translate across all formats.
Yeah, I'm coming to your comments very shortly, but I want a quick word from both of you gentlemen on Shimron Etmire. Towards the back end last year of the IPL, let's go back a little. At the start of the IPL last year, Shimron Etmire was on fire. He was batting very well. But by the middle of the tournament, towards the end, he started to struggle. He came into the West Indies team. That struggle continued. And in the first match over the weekend for the Rajasthan Royal, he made only 5. So that struggle continues. Is he now really under pressure from Rovman Powell on holding down his spot in that Rajasthan Royal team?
I think so. You know why? Something interesting in that match occurred. He got subbed out as a um, despite the fact they only played 3 international players. He got subbed out for the left-hand fast bowler from South Africa, Burger. Now, Hetmyer is known as also a good fielder, especially on the outfield, right? And that is a valuable skill in the T20 format, particularly. And for him to be subbed out, I found that very strange. You know, is this team saying, wait, Shimran, your fitness is not up to par, you're not moving as you should, blah, 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 blah. So I hope that is probably a message to him. And the other thing, you're correct. They're not going to play Powell and Hetmyer in the same 11 on that team. So Hetmyer has to, if he don't put in the performance, Mr. Powell going to come into the 11.
And Bobby, when the Rajasthan Royal drafted Rovman Powell, we saw it then as the fact that they wanted to keep him at the Barbados Royal. And it was almost a package deal. That's why they drafted him there. But with the continuous struggling of Shimron Hetmyer, do you think now that he's going to move up in that pecking order?
For sure. Like Baza said, they're not going to play the two of them. You know, the roles are very similar. You know, so he is. If Hetmyer continues to fail, it will be Rovman Powell. Because when you look at it, they have a couple bowlers. They're going to go with Butler. So, you know, and they're going to go with Bolt, right? So Powell and Hetmyer, you know, they're fighting for the same spot. And if Hetmyer doesn't buckle down, Powell will take it. Because I know Powell is sitting and he's waiting for that moment. He's waiting because he's been on farm all year. So he's waiting to take that spot. And as I said, I saw that too, you know, because I was a bit surprised when they subbed out Hetmyer because he's a very good fielder. So maybe they're telling him, you know, Hetmyer, you know, your fitness is not the greatest. You got to work on it. But I don't think these guys will work on it until it's too late.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's look at the points table now for at the end of 5 rounds in the West Indies regional tournament. So the Windward Island Volcanoes have gave up first spot. So as the horses turn down the home stretch, the Leeward Islands have put their head in front. They are now on 86 points. The Windward Island Volcanoes on 71.6. Barbados Pride, who is jostling with the Jamaican Scorpion and the Guyana RP Eagle in that third position. They now are on 67.4. Guyana RP Eagle, having won their last 3 matches, have now moved up to 66.8 points. Jamaican Scorpion are still on their way to champs. They are on 53.4 points. Then you have the Trinidad and Tobago Red Force, the West Indies Academy, and the combined campuses and colleges on 25.2 points at the bottom. When we look at the leading run scorers in the tournament, Mikel Louis, who have made an half century against Jamaican Scorpion over the weekend, this is his 4th score over 50, 2 50s and 2 centuries. He's the leading run scorer with 417 runs. Kevin Sinclair comes second with 413. No other batsmen have crossed that 400 mark, so they do not make this table. Not at all. You have, after 5 matches, you need to be crossing the 400 runs mark to make this. What are your thoughts on these 2 batsmen, Basil?
Well, Sinclair is conforming to what I keep telling people. He is a batting all-rounder, not a spinner. Right, his bowling is because he got some success early with his bowling, but his best skill is his batting. Right. I was on a program with him a couple of weeks ago, and I was very impressed when he was asked about his experience in Australia, about all the various things that he picked up, the learnings that he picked up from that experience, and particularly talking about his batting and so on. And you could see he is the one guy who has come back from Australia with those learnings and has put it to application successfully. You know, the other guys, I mean, Hodge had 1 score, And we're still waiting on Mr. McKenzie. But when I listened to him talk, I'm really impressed. And I actually told him, I said, Mr. Sinclair, in my opinion, your batting is what's going to keep you on the West Indies team, not your bowling. Others might think so, you might think so, but I just giving you my opinion. Your batting is what's going to keep you on that team.
Brilliant observation there, Basil, and I'm really happy that you pointed that out because my mind was not even there that he's the only one who appears to have learned a lot in Australia and have come back and looked at absolutely different batsmen. Very good observation, Basil. I really appreciate that. Bobby, what are your thoughts on these two batsmen?
Well, let's start with Mikhail Louis. Everybody was jumping up for him when he made those twin centuries. He kind of fell off a little bit. Um, as so far, I don't think he's quite there yet to make the West Indies, unless he scores two more centuries and prove me wrong. But I don't think he's quite there yet. He needs some things he needs to work out, especially going on different tracks around the Caribbean. I heard someone said he was a home track bully, and I think they kind of proved it a little bit. But I would say West Indies is still his home, so he got to figure out, how to play on the other pitches and get his head right. But to Mr. Sinclair, like Basil said, I'm 100% with what Basil said. From last year, I've been saying that Kevin Sinclair is not a bowler. He's a batsman that can bowl a little bit, and he should just focus on his batting, And you could see that this guy is a guy who is always willing to learn, works hard. Every time I see Sinclair, I just remember the time when someone said he was working so hard. The other West Indians, they were laughing at him, and he continues to show them up. And next time you talk to him, Basil, just tell him to continue the good work. And these are the type of players we need in the West Indies. We need players like Sinclair and Shamar and the other Joseph. These are the players we need in the West Indies. We need these type of qualities. So see, I guess Sinclair has showed that he's willing to learn. He always wants to learn, and he's not just content with making the team. He wants to be the best in the world. And we hope that even Carl Hooper said that. He's always asking questions, always willing to learn, always want to work on his game. These are the type of players we really need.
Yeah,
And for a lower order batsman, he's outshining all the batsmen.
Yeah, well, I mean, Guyana, you see what Guyana have done? They batted him at 6 the match prior, and this match they batted him at 5. And it's either one of those two positions he got to be batting in the Guyana team, right? Not batting at 7 or 8, and I did not realize that he was the second leading scorer. So they might got to promote him up to 4.
Thank you, Basil. Now, at the start of the program, I said that both E and Justin Greaves are batting for that number 6 position. Both Bobby and Basil agree that maybe Kevin Sinclair should not be our 4th bowler. So if Ian Greaves is batting for that number 6 position, gentlemen, who do you think are ahead at this time? You want to take it first?
Who, me?
Basil?
I mean, from a sheer runs perspective, Sinclair would be ahead of Graves. He got over 400 runs. But Graves will play 3 matches, I think, 2 matches or something like that. Yes, 2 matches Graves has played, right? And
2 matches, 3 half centuries.
Right. So every time Graves has walked out to bat, he has put a score. And other thing you see, one of the things you're looking at guys who want to select and so on. You look at their when they score the runs. Like Graves last scored 94 not out. That was in a run chase. There's a pressure. I used the term that's tough runs. When you got to make the runs to win the game and that kind of thing. Like the other day when Brandon King, he threw a wicket at 6 or something. How he was batting in that second innings. That was why I was saying that's tough runs, because and one of the things when you see those guys batting in those situations, you get to see their mindset, how they're really approaching the inning based on the situation. If you really pay attention, because to just veer away with King in that game, King knew, you could see how he was batting. He knew once he stated Jamaica win the game. So he wasn't until he went back to T20 mode, right?
Thank you, Basil. Bobby, what do you think about that performance from what do you think about Greaves and Sinclair? Who is in that number 6 position? And as Basil brought up that 94 from Greaves, Jamar Hamilton, I won't say a little selfish, was he very selfish in denying Greaves of the 100?
Oh, really? He did?
I mean, I would say he was selfish. He probably wasn't really paying much attention. Like I told you, if it was me, I would not hit any runs. Greaves would have to make all those runs and get his century. But like they're saying, they gotta play for the team. So I guess Hamilton was just playing for the win, and maybe Greaves didn't matter. So far with Greaves and Sinclair, Greaves is a person who I like, and I said it on the show before that, he should be given a couple chances, but it's hard right now with Sinclair going so hard at him. It's hard to deny Sinclair. I see Sinclair as the front runner. It's very hard, to deny Sinclair of that number 6 spot. Because I believe Moti is the frontline bowler, or Warrican, if Warrican comes back. I don't think Kevin Sinclair is gonna be anywhere near the bowling.
I would just want to add this quickly. Just 10 seconds. The Graves going to England would be in front of Sinclair for this simple reason: the conditions, and he's a very useful bowler that moves the ball both ways, which will be an additional thing in England, and that's where he's going to get the edge, getting into the 11 ahead of Sinclair.
Basil, I understand about playing for the team, but with clear sky at Sabina Park, it is not yet even lunch, so you have 2 sessions to go. Do you think that Hamilton should have got Greaves to that 100? Give Greaves the best opportunity to get to that 100?
Well, now you guys revealing something to me. I didn't know that Hamilton messed up the guy from getting 100. And based on what you were saying there, the scoreboard is right up there, so everybody could see it. I would have wanted Graves to get the 100, because I would have said when we go in the middle of the inning, I would have been saying to him, "Look, boss, I can give you the single. You got to make these runs, right? The only way I'm gonna take over is if you out. So you gonna gotta score these runs. I can give you a single every time, and you gonna make the runs to win the match." That would have been my mindset, because it's not every day you get a chance, particularly to make 100 in a chase. I mean, that's more memorable than you make 100 in the 4th innings or something like that. But you make it in the chase, you win the match. Yeah, those are ones you remember a whole lot.
I thank you all for being here. I'm coming to your comments very quickly. I saw there's a lot of comments, but just let us just look at the bowlers finally. Now, in those top 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we saw 3 left-arm spinner in the top 6. And these are all the bowlers who have gotten 25 wickets and more. The only other bowler that have gotten more than 20 wickets is Anderson Phillip, who is on 22. Warwick on 30, Jeremiah Louis, 29, Bishop 29, Cornwall 27, Ned 27, Pete Salmon. In that 6, 1 fast bowler, 2 off spinner, and 3 left-arm orthodox spinner. What does that mean here, Bobby?
Well, for one, the spinners, they probably bowl twice or 3 times the amount as the pace bowler. I remember I was watching the game, and I saw, what's his name, Shields, and he was bowling his 4th overs in the 50th over of the match, and those are things that I don't like. You have a bouncy, a decent pitch, let the fast bowlers bowl. So, if the spinners are gonna bowl a lot, they're gonna pick up wickets. And like Basil said before, our batsmen are not that skilled and adept of playing, the spinners taking their time. I remember in a test match when India was here, we saw where Sharma and those guys were very skilled. They waited and they take their time, play patiently to get to their hundreds. Our batsmen don't want to do that. They face 100 balls. then they just lose it and start swiping. So I think, when you bowl that much, you're going to get some rickets, especially of batsmen who are not of high quality. So a message to the teams: bowl the fast bowlers, please. Bowl them a bit more. I don't want to see spin in the 10th over of a match. Bowl the fast bowlers. You have 2, 3 fast bowlers. Let them bowl. Let them bowl at least 15 overs a day.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby. Basil, what are your thoughts on it? And are you tired of seeing spinners opening the bowling?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the leading wicket takers? 5 spinners, 1 pacer, and are you tired of seeing spinners opening the bowling?
Yeah, I share your sentiments there, Carlton. Because none of these spinners, at this point, I feel could go to the next level and do the serious business. I would say this though, Mr. Salmon, of all of them, spins the ball, and he could spin the ball even with a new ball in his hand. So that is a good skill to have. That if he can, be a very and being a tall guy, he gets bunks and turn, which are 2 great skills to have as a spin bowler, right? But yes, I agree. When you look at how many overseas guys bowling, especially Bishop and Ned, oh Lord, they're way ahead of everybody. So they're supposed to get wickets like they have. They're on the West Indies Academy team. Like sometimes the captain forget he got fast bowlers on the team there. That I saw against Jamaica is like the 2 of them own the ball. Bishop and Ned, the 2 of them was just bowling all day.
Probably it was the 2 of them that brought the ball to the match.
Look, if you look on the ball, you see Ned and Bishop name on the ball.
Yeah, so let me go through some comments quickly. There's a lot of comments. I thank you all for your comments. I will not be able to go through all of them, but let's go through quickly. Travis Brathwaite is saying that of Older, Sinclair, and Greaves, only 2 of them will play. Agree, Bobby?
Yeah, maybe even 1. Maybe even 1.
Basil, agree?
Yeah, it could be. It could be 2. It depends where they're playing and the matchups in the test match. Because the thing, I like Sinclair, but in England, his bowling is not as valuable, right?
Thank you.
Graves.
Thank you. Do you agree with 007? I think it is something else, but 007 said that they missed the Jamaican food, Bobby. Is it so?
Maybe. I think I know what you're thinking. Maybe.
Basil,
maybe that's it.
What do you think they miss in Jamaica? What do you think they miss in Jamaica, Basil?
Y'all got a lot of lovely other things, and let me just say that, leave it there.
Eloise, this is a good one. He was saying that, but is he correct? For the best of my memory, Dujan was keeping for Jamaica when he was selected, but maybe Basil, was Dujan keeping for Jamaica in 81 or was it France?
No, he wasn't. Here, what this person needs to realize, you can't use Dujan. West Indies at that time made a decision because they wanted a batsman at that position that could wicket keep. It wasn't the other way around, right? So you can't use Dujan as an example. He was a batsman, because I can tell you, I was already living in the United States at the time. And when I hear Dujan, I said, Jeffrey Dujan? The same Jeffrey Dujan I see in the 70s? Because I see Jamaica come to Guyana, play Chelsea, and Dujan never had the gloves on. So I didn't even know he used to wicket keep, right?
Yes, he did that. He did that, Wolmers.
Yes,
Bobby,
yes.
Yeah, Bobby, do you think that the captaincy should be taken from Atanase, and 007 is saying that he needs to learn shot selection?
Well, so far the captaincy, no. I don't really see anybody who is above him over there. But he definitely needs to work on his shot selection. Definitely. That's a thing that he definitely needs to work on.
What do you think, Basil?
No, I don't think the captaincy needs to be taken away because last year he was a captain when he made the 600 and change. So it's nothing to do with the captaincy, in my view. I think that he has been found out. A lot of young players, until the people put the microscope on you and break down your flaws, all that information gets sent around. And if the bowlers are skilled enough to exploit it, and they're doing it so far.
There's something that we missed in the conversation, and Eloise Grumps is saying that if Old and Roach are going to England, Lewis can't go. Now, the question I have to ask here, why Roach did not play in the 5th round of the regional 4-day tournament? Was he disciplined? Is he injured? Or is he tired after one match? We need to know. What are you hearing through the grapevines, Basil?
Sir Carlton, I'm glad you bring that up because I'm supposed to be on a program with the CEO of West Board, and I can ask that question because I spoke to somebody who was a match referee, and all he could tell me, they were told he'll be here, but there has been no official sanction, and I will ask the CEO, why was that not so, right? I mean, I asked, and the thing about it, that same question, I kept asking all them folks in Barbados, what happened to Roach? What happened to Roach? He said it was like mum's award. It was like a classified secret. Nobody ain't saying nothing.
Bobby, if Roach is not disciplined, if he's not injured, and he's tired after one match, should he be on that plane to England?
No.
Well, if he wants to play one match or two match, I think Roach have definitely earned the right to be in England. If he's tired after one match, that's such a shame. Then his career would be or should be ending pretty soon. I give him, or before I gave him like 2 years, but yeah, if he's tired after one match, that's not looking great for us. But I mean, we have people in the back ready.
He's not gonna play any more matches because he's gonna be off to England to start the county season.
The county season starts in April. It's starting early again this year. As you brought up that county season, I remember earlier in the season I asked for Roach, and one of his most loyal fans, probably even more than loyal, probably a disciple, said he was playing county cricket in February, Basil. County cricket in February. Yeah. So Mrs. Cricket Forum is saying that good morning, Sir Brown, Bobby, and Basil, and the Cricket Forum community. Thank you very much, Mrs. Cricket Forum.
Good morning, Mrs. Brown.
Yes. Upkoski saying Roland Butcher identified Shamar Joseph as an outstanding early on. So I suggest that the powers that be pay attention to his assessment of Jedediah Blades. Okay, thank you for that comment. Really appreciate that comment. There's a lot of comments there just going by, and so forgive me. Good morning to you. Good morning. Ahmad Noor. Etty needs to return to Test cricket and get to basic. What are your thoughts, both of you gentlemen? Let's hear yours first, Bobby. 15 seconds. You agree?
That's my thought exactly. But like I said, it will not happen. I mean, these guys don't look at Test cricket as a form of cricket. For me, I'm still very young, but I think T20 is just an exhibition, and Test cricket is the real cricket. So even if you're not playing Test cricket, like play, you should play some form of it, to work on your skills, to continue work on your skills. But it would not happen with Hetty and those guys.
Basil?
I thought he should have been playing for Guyana in the first class matches before he went off to India. I don't know if this guy is really interested in being the best he can be. His actions don't tell me that.
Yeah. Jay, No, Jay, that's a given. I mean, the conversation moved past there, Sir Jay.
Exactly.
When
We
we're
talking
talking
about the
about the
11.
West Indies squad,
Talking
we're
about the
talking about the
11.
playing 11. The
No,
conversation,
playing
no,
11.
there are some things that are taken for granted, Jay, and so you don't really discuss it. It will be
Yes.
criminality if both of them are not in the squad. What you want to know is that both of them, I really think they are battling for that number 6 position because I do not see any of the two as a number 4 bowler. And so for you
No.
to bat at number 8, you really need to be the number 4 bowler in the team. So do you agree with me, gentlemen?
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean Graves. This thing is weird because Graves was played as a number 4 bowler in Australia, right?
Graves?
And he comes back now home and playing for Leeward Islands and in 2 matches as both 4 overs. You want to know sometimes what is he thinking? What is he thinking? And what was funny, I was on a program and a Bajan guy, one of the hosts, wanted to drop Graves from the squad table. And Roland Butcher was on the same program. And he said, wait a minute. The guy did a decent job against the best in the world. And now you're telling him, all right, that's good. You could run along on your way. No, you got to give. It's not like if Graves is 25 years old. Graves is 32 years old. So let us see how much we can get out of Mr. Graves.
Yeah, I think, Basil, that person, and you can tell them that I said so, is a Jason older disciple and is
Yes,
trying
yes,
to
yes. They
find
are. They are.
every way to get Jason older in the
Yes, they
side.
are. They are.
Bobby, was Jason older bowling against Trinidad and Tobago that good? Or was their batting mediocre? Glad to have you here. Truth set you free.
I,
Happy to have
well,
you here.
a bit of both. I
Yes.
think Trinidad batting lineup is a batter or two short, but his bowling was good. His bowling was good, especially in the first couple overs. I can't lie. His bowling, he looks good.
I'm gonna say this for Holder against Guyana. Both him and Roach. When Barbados got the second new ball in the first innings, remember Guyana had them on the ropes, going easy. And when both of them bowled that second new ball, you saw the test pedigree. They were bowling that test match pressure bowling. And Guyana batters succumb because next thing Barbados pick up 3 quick wickets in short order. But that's what and that what I found interesting is that when they bowl like that, the batters struggle. And it showed me something about those batters. Y'all not ready for the big leagues. Y'all get some big league bowling here, and y'all succumb. This is what you're gonna expect, right? And every time Jason Holder would bowl like that in this tournament, he's always gonna get wickets because these batters can't succumb to they're gonna succumb to the pressure.
Um, Saskia, I want to say something here. He's saying that CWI must get Joel Andrew into the senior West Indies colours.
Nah.
No, no, let me say something here. He is playing in the first class season. He played one good matches, I think, in the third round where he won the man of the match.
8 to 7.
But after that, he have done nothing. So why would you want to put Joel Andrew into the West Indies senior team when he's not performing outstandingly at the first class level? I just do not understand. And mark you, Joel Andrew and I are friends on social media. We
Mhm,
communicate on social media. So I have
mhm.
nothing against the young man.
Right.
But as I said, West Indies cricket is my passion, not the players. So
Correct.
why would you want to put Joel Andrew into the West Indies team when he's not doing anything
Yeah.
at the first class level? Athena, I love this comment from Athena. The art of survival is to constantly reinventing one's skill and knowledge, both
Excellent.
batters
Excellent
and
point.
bowlers.
Excellent. You always
Absolutely.
gotta Yeah, you always gotta be looking to get better all constantly because the more you play, the more they're working out all your different kinks in your armor. So you
Yeah.
always got to come up. You got to think way ahead of them. They know this is my kink, so I can go and work on this. So when they come back attacking the kink, you are ahead of the game. The kink has now been closed, you know?
Yes.
And you know, Sir Carton, you're old enough to know this. Today's West Indies fans, as soon as some young player do something, put in the team. That was never the call when we were a good team.
No,
You have
no.
to earn your keep over a period of time. Just as soon as a player do something, oh, we got to go in the West Indies team.
Bobby, there's this argument sometimes that older players, they cannot change, they cannot evolve. But that argument only go for West Indies. We have seen cricketers all over the world evolving, Bobby. What are your
Yes,
thoughts?
yeah, I think you can always evolve. Look at Mitchell, look at Hussey, look at even Sky. You have guys who maybe somebody talked to them in a time and said, hey, this is what's wrong with your technique. This is what you're doing wrong. So all the players can always evolve. You could always
Yeah.
evolve. I don't believe in that. I
There's,
don't I don't believe in
there,
just blooding young players.
there is no such thing as perfection, right?
Yeah.
So
Right, right.
once you operate from that perspective, you always could get better.
Yeah,
Rahul
that's
Dravid, as great as he was always working on his game.
always
And
working.
Shiv,
And 007, I am disappointed in this comment because when is it that
A brisk
a
party.
brisk 40 is the standard? No, I wish Andrew well. As I said, we talk, and I wish him well. And I gave him advice. Well, I don't know if it's advice, but I pass on the information I have to him.
Yeah.
I wish him well, but yeah, we cannot drop the standard to a brisk 40
yeah.
and think that we should be mentioning 40 for someone to elevate to the next level. 007 is a valuable contributor to this program. He adds value to it. Yes, and he made some good points. Very often he made very good points. But I'm disappointed with this point on this occasion. As he think that, again, 007, the West Indies senior cricket team, not a development team. We have the
We have
A
the
team for that.
18.
We have the academy for that. We cannot treat the West Indies senior team as a development team, 007.
Here,
You know,
here, Sir Carlton. I think
yes.
that 007 might be a guy in my age range because he is thinking of the days when you went to England and you played 18 county matches. So you could carry two young players or even three that would never play a test match, but they will get a lot of valuable experience playing in those county matches. But we don't have that no more.
Yeah,
and you're talking
more,
about,
more than likely,
Roach. You're talking about Roach. I went and checked. All three of those test matches is 3 days in between all of them. So if Roach couldn't play,
3 days.
But yes, everyone is a 3-day break. These test matches is boom, boom, boom. Because they're all in July. All of them in July. Because remember the small window.
And they have 3 other tests against Sri Lanka, so I guess that's why.
Exactly. Their sum is those 6 test matches, yeah.
Now, Edward Grant that believe that Chanda Paul should be to England. Well, I believe that he will be going. There's no doubt about Sinclair. I mean, Basil and Bobby not so sure at this time. But 007, and this is where we love the conversation. 007 is pointing out something here. He's saying that Silva and Jada Seals went on tours as development players. Have you forgotten? But my recollection of that is that they were not development players, but they were one, that Silva was a reserve wicketkeeper, which is different from a development player. And Jaden Seals was a genuine contender for a place in the team. Right, Basil?
Yeah, he's making a mistake. That COVID tour, if we remember, we took like 20 other players, right?
Right.
So those guys, it was almost like a camp for those guys. Joshua De Silva was part of that group. So it wasn't that wasn't about development.
Paid for by England. Those extra players were paid for by England.
Exactly.
Right.
And it was about 20 of them. It was about the reserve thing was about 20, because remember it was COVID. So we had to have inter-squad matches. It
Right.
wasn't like we could go out and play against a county team. We were in an enclosed environment. So 007, forget that, man.
But I love it, 007. And we're just saying that Romain Morris, up to last week, I think that Romain Morris was at the head of the pack for the reserve wicketkeeper position. I am not quite sure so more. But 007, we really appreciate the conversation. We definitely love the to and fro, and we enjoy it. We should have been on the phone. Gentlemen, I want to thank you all for being here. It was a pleasure having both of you. I want to thank you all for all of you watching. It was a pleasure. And we'll see you again tomorrow morning, because today Jamaica is going to crown champion of the women tournament and do the double. So tomorrow morning we're going to review Jamaica championship double. Thank you all for being here.
They already completed it.
Yes, they already completed it. Yes, thank you all for being here. It was a pleasure having you. Have a great day. Very good day. Take care now.